Have you ever done everything right and still felt that burning sensation rising in your chest? You didn't eat spicy food, you didn't drink coffee, you even skipped dessert. Yet here it comes again, acid reflux, waking you up in the middle of the night or creeping in right after dinner. Maybe you've been told, oh, it's just too much acid. So you reach for the antacid again and again. But what if that's not the real problem? What if I told you that for many people, the issue isn't too much acid, it's too little? And more than that, what if I told you that your reflux might be connected to your breathing, your posture, your stress level, and even the balance of bacteria inside your gut? It sounds complicated, doesn't it? But here's the good news. It's not random. There are real root cause reasons behind why acid reflux happens. And once you understand them, you can start to heal naturally, without relying on medications that may come with a long list of side effects. In this video, I'll walk you through the 9 most overlooked causes of acid reflux, from weak valves and hiatal hernias to slow digestion, low stomach acid, nerve dysfunction, and more. Each one is a missing puzzle piece that could finally explain what's really going on in your body. And no, you don't need to just live with it. There are options. There's hope. There's a way forward that doesn't involve giving up your favorite foods or sleeping sitting up every night. So stick with me, because what you're about to hear might just change the way you think about your reflux forever. Let's start with the basics. How your digestive system is supposed to work, and what happens when that goes off track. Your digestive tract is built like a one-way street. Food is supposed to move from your mouth, down your esophagus, into your stomach, and then onward through your intestines. Top down, no backflow. And keeping everything moving in that direction are small but mighty gates called sphincters, muscular valves that open and close at just the right moment. At the base of your esophagus sits one of the most important, the lower esophageal sphincter, or ileus. Its job is simple but critical: open when food comes in, then close tightly to keep stomach contents from coming back up. But for many people, that valve weakens over time. Why? Because of pressure from overeating, from chronic bloating, from poor posture, from abdominal fat pushing upward. All of that pressure wears the LEs down until it no longer closes properly. Now, instead of a tight seal, you've got a loose lid. And when stomach acid splashes up, it burns the sensitive lining of your esophagus. But here's something most people don't know. Your diaphragm, the large dome-shaped muscle that helps you breathe, also acts as a backup sphincter. It surrounds the esophagus and adds extra pressure to keep things in place. That brings us to the next issue: hiatal hernia. A hiatal hernia happens when part of your stomach pushes up through the diaphragm into your chest cavity. Think of it like a bubble popping up where it doesn't belong. Once that stomach segment slips above the diaphragm, the pressure system breaks. The backup valve is gone. The acid reflux gets worse. Now, maybe you've been told there's no fix for that except surgery. But here's where it gets interesting. Most hiatal hernias are not fixed in place. They're what we call sliding hernias, which means they can move. They can slide up, but they can also slide back down. And when you reduce pressure from below, through posture, breathing, and releasing abdominal tension, that hernia can relax and retreat. No scalpel needed. Finally, we have slow stomach emptying. When food sits too long in your stomach, it begins to ferment, especially sugars and refined carbs. That fermentation creates gas, which adds even more pressure upward. Many patients have told me, I stopped eating meat and went vegan, but I felt worse. And the reason might surprise you. Starches and sugars, especially from processed grains, ferment much faster than proteins. So even though vegan eating is often seen as lighter, Some people may actually feel more bloated and reflux prone on that diet, especially if their gut bacteria are imbalanced or their stomach is slow to empty. That's why one-size-fits-all advice doesn't work here. Your body is unique. Your symptoms have a story, and when you listen to it closely, the answers start to appear. So if your LES is weak, your stomach is pushing where it shouldn't, and your meals linger too long, you're not broken. You're out of balance. And balance, thankfully, can be restored. Now let's go deeper, beyond the physical structure, into the inner workings of your body. Because even if your valves are in place and your meals are modest, you might still have reflux. And here's one reason why. You may not be making enough stomach acid. Yes, you heard that right. Most people think acid reflux means they have too much acid. But in many cases, especially in older adults, the opposite is true. Your stomach needs acid not just to digest food, but to signal the LS, the valve we talked about earlier, to close tightly. When there's not enough acid, that valve gets lazy. It doesn't shut properly. So even small amounts of acid can leak upward. And here's the kicker. Even low acid can feel like high acid if it's in the wrong place. It burns just the same in the esophagus. But the fix isn't less acid, it's better acid. Acid in the right amount, in the right place, doing the right job. So what causes low acid in the first place? Aging is a big one. As we get older, our stomach acid production naturally declines. Add to that chronic stress, a history of antacid use, or even poor nutrient intake, and it's no wonder our digestive fire dims. And that brings us to the next key player, the vagus nerve. This incredible nerve runs from your brainstem all the way down to your digestive organs. It controls your heart rate, your breathing, and yes, your digestion. When the vagus nerve is toned and functioning well, your stomach contracts rhythmically. It releases acid on cue. It empties efficiently. But when it's out of balance, due to stress, trauma, or even poor posture, it starts to misfire. Your digestion slows. Acid production falters. Valves stop responding. And here's something you may have felt without knowing why. Racing heart, shallow breath, anxious tension in your chest. That's not just anxiety. That's vagus nerve dysfunction showing up in real life. Think about it. How many times have you eaten in a rush, distracted or stressed, and ended up with indigestion? That's no coincidence. The vagus nerve is your body's way of saying, I'm not ready to digest yet. It needs calm. It needs safety. It needs a signal to switch out of fight or flight and into rest and digest. But too many of us live stuck in that high alert mode all day, every day. And it's no surprise that GERD and anxiety often go hand in hand. In fact, a 2024 study in Nature found that people with chronic anxiety or depression were significantly more likely to suffer from acid reflux. The two systems, emotional and digestive, are deeply intertwined. So what can you do? You don't need a new prescription. You need a new signal. Breathing exercises, gentle vagus nerve stimulation, mindful eating, slowing down, reconnecting your brain and your gut. Because when your nervous system relaxes, your digestion follows. And that's when healing truly begins. Now let's turn our attention to the outside world. What you eat, how you live, and how it all adds up inside your body. Let's begin with your diet. It's no secret that the standard American diet isn't doing our digestive systems any favors. We eat fast, we eat late, we eat too much. And what we eat, ultra-processed foods, sugary snacks, refined carbs, is often the very thing that feeds the problem. But here's something many people miss. The type of food matters, but so does how and when you eat it. A heavy, fatty dinner right before bed? That's a setup for reflux. Lying down after eating? Another trigger. Even healthy foods can cause issues if your system is off balance. For example, one viewer asked a great question: can being vegan make things worse? That's a sincere concern, and a valid one. The answer is, it depends. If your digestive system is sluggish and your microbiome is imbalanced, starchy plant foods, like grains and legumes, can ferment more easily, creating gas and pressure. In those cases, a plant-based diet may actually feel heavier than one that includes easy-to-digest proteins. That doesn't mean vegan is bad. It just means you have to work with your body, not against it. Next up, central obesity, especially fat that accumulates around your midsection. We're not talking about a few extra pounds on the scale. We're talking about visceral fat, the kind that presses on your organs, crowds your diaphragm, and pushes your stomach upward. It's not just a cosmetic issue, it's mechanical. That pressure forces stomach contents up, not down. Studies have shown that losing just a few inches off your waistline can significantly reduce reflux symptoms. And the good news is, when you address the root causes, improve your diet, reduce inflammation, rebalance your microbiome, that weight often starts to come off naturally. Which brings us to our final point in this section: your microbiome. Your gut is home to between 60 and 100 trillion microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, viruses, all working or fighting to maintain balance in your digestive system. When your microbiome is healthy, digestion flows, nutrients are absorbed, inflammation stays low. But when the bad guys outnumber the good, chaos follows. A 2024 study published in Translational Medicine found that patients with GERD had higher levels of gram-negative bacteria and lower expression of a key protein that protects the esophageal lining. In other words, their microbial imbalance was literally weakening their defense system. And that's not all. Another fascinating study showed that when scientists gave rats a type of prebiotic called CPAC, which improved gut flora, the development of esophageal cancer dropped by over 90% because the inflammation and damage from reflux was dramatically reduced. This isn't just theory anymore. It's science, and it's pointing us toward a better way. So instead of just treating symptoms, what if we targeted the train? What if we fed the good bacteria, cleared out the overgrowth, restored the rhythm? What if your acid reflux isn't the enemy, but a signal that something deeper needs attention? Because when you fix the foundation, your food, your weight, your gut ecology, your body responds quickly, powerfully, naturally, and sometimes that's all it takes to feel like yourself again. Let's take a breath. You've just heard 9 powerful reasons why acid reflux may be disrupting your life. But more importantly, you've heard that none of them are permanent. Your body is built to heal. It just needs the right environment. You don't have to live on antacids. You don't have to avoid your favorite foods forever. And you certainly don't have to accept poor sleep, chest burning, or the fear that something worse is coming. Because now you understand the why. You understand that reflux isn't just about acid. It's about pressure, balance, rhythm, and function. A weak valve isn't the end. It's a signal that the system needs support. A hiatal hernia doesn't mean surgery. It means you've got pressure that can be relieved. Slow digestion, low acid, poor nerve tone. These aren't failures. They're feedback. Your body's way of asking for help. And now you know how to listen. So what do you do from here? Start simply. Choose whole foods. Eat slowly. Breathe before you begin. Sit up straight. Go for a walk after meals. Give your gut and your nervous system the time and space to recalibrate. Consider testing your microbiome. Support your good bacteria. Give your vagus nerve a little attention. Maybe that looks like cold exposure, or singing, or deep breathing before bed. Remember, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to start. Because small changes, done consistently, can transform your digestion and your life. And if you've been living in fear, in discomfort, in silence, you're not alone. But you don't have to stay there. You deserve relief. You deserve clarity. You deserve to enjoy a meal, sleep through the night, and wake up without burning in your chest. And now you have the tools to move in that direction. One choice at a time, one meal at a time, one breath at a time. Now, let me tell you something I've learned after working with thousands of patients over the years. The body doesn't give up easily. Even when you've been in pain for months or years, even when the doctors say, you'll have to live with this, your body is still trying to fix itself every single day. You see, symptoms are not mistakes. They're messages. Acid reflux isn't your body malfunctioning. It's your body alerting you that something's out of sync. Something needs your attention, and when you respond gently, patiently, wisely, healing becomes possible. I've seen people in their 60s, 70s, even 80s turn their digestion around completely, not with magic, not with a new pill, but by getting back to what their body really needed: time, nourishment, movement, breath, rest. Maybe that's you right now. Maybe you've been frustrated, unheard, or even ashamed to talk about your symptoms. If so, let me say this clearly. You're not broken. You're just in a body that's been overwhelmed, and it's asking you to slow down, to listen, to rebuild. And you can, because no matter how long it's been, your body still remembers how to heal. Let's give it the chance. End roll CTA QI video. If this video brought you any clarity or comfort, consider hitting the subscribe button. I create videos like this to help you understand your body and feel empowered, not overwhelmed. And if you know someone silently dealing with reflux, someone who's been told it's just aging or all in their head, please share this with them, because knowledge heals. And the more we understand, the more we can take back our health, naturally, gently, and without fear. We'll talk soon.